You're an entrepreneur and your business is growing, and so you might be thinking, hey, what if I hire someone and get some of that time back from my business? Or maybe you already have a small team, but everything still relies on you. And so you're thinking the answer is to hire more people. Well, I'm here to tell you that it isn't. And if you hire more people without fixing the problem I'm going to talk about in this video first, you are just setting yourself up for disaster. How do I know? Because I have made that mistake many times, and it's cost me a lot of time and a lot of money, and I don't want that to happen to you. So on this video, I am gonna go over what you need to install in your business before you hire anyone else so that you can have amazing success, so that you can actually work less while earning more money and having way more fun. Now, the reason that I know how this works is over the last 6 years, I've helped over 4,000 entrepreneurs with staffing, hiring, and most importantly, implementation of systems, processes, and procedures so that they can create a business that runs without you. And ultimately, if you want to do that and if you want to make that happen for yourself, then you're in the right place. Let's rock and roll. Let's first talk about what happens if you get this wrong. And I have gotten it wrong many times. It's cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. So I want you to learn from my mistakes so you don't make the same ones. All right. So if you're an entrepreneur and you've gotten to a certain point and you're doing all the work yourself, or maybe you already have a team, but you're still the bottleneck, meaning every decision comes through you. Everything that happens in the business really relies on you still. And if everyone comes to you every day and says, what do I do next? Then really you're the bottleneck. If you can't take a day off or a week off or put your phone away or go on vacation and not check it, then you're still the bottleneck. And having a team really isn't solving your problem because everything still goes through you. That is definitely not a business that runs without you. So the mistake that people make really is going in and hiring people and either making bad hires, which definitely costs you a lot of money. I'm going to tell you a quick story about that in just a second, or hiring people without fixing this one thing first, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So first, let me tell you this bad hiring story. So I was running a real estate team. We were doing really well, but I wanted to get out of production. I was in a place in my career where I felt like, I'd rather have someone else kind of run the team. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather be the owner. I want to be the CEO, right? I want to be the big boss. And there was a guy that I knew, actually a great guy. We are still friends. This was not a personal thing on him. It's actually my fault. I take responsibility for the way it went down. But he was running another real estate office, and we had gotten together and I said, you already do this, why don't you take over and run our team instead of the whole big office? And he loved that idea. And so we hired him. We paid him a really big salary at the time. For me, it was a big portion of our revenue, but we had some funds saved up for that. And so we hired him, and he started, and 3 months into his tenure, I looked up because I had kind of checked out, just to be honest. And the business was just in complete shambles. Production was way down. We weren't recruiting. We weren't adding people. Revenue was way down. And I looked at it and I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to put an end to this pretty quickly. And unfortunately, we did. So we caught it, I would say, probably way too late. That one period probably cost me, several $100,000 at least. And so, the cost of a bad hire is so huge. It's not just the money that you spend on the hire, but it's also the time that you waste, and it's what could have been if you would have made a really great hire. And the main reason that most entrepreneurs make bad hires is they either rush into them or, and this is a bigger one, they don't see enough candidates. So when you're the one responsible for hiring, you're probably going to hire someone that you really like. If you've done that before, let me know in the comments below. You got along with them in the interview. I've done that as well. And you hire them. The problem with that is, of course, that when you hire, you should be hiring to a position and not just hiring someone that you like or hiring a friend. So that's another mistake. And then the third main mistake that entrepreneurs make when hiring is they don't hire either to a proven system or to a vision of what they want for that position and for the business. And so when they're hiring, they think that they can hire someone that's going to fix all these problems, but typically that just doesn't work. And what ends up happening when you do it this way, shotgun style hiring, right, is that the person comes on, just like my example, and either they fail in the position or in the role because you just never set them up for success, right? Or what happens is that everything just still ends up compounding on you, right? Or you just have too many people reporting to you, and then you haven't really solved the problem you wanted to solve. At the end of the day, it's still you doing everything, but just with more people, which means more responsibility and a higher payroll, and you didn't get the freedom that you really wanted from those hires. Because really, at the end of the day, like, you're hiring to get freedom. You're hiring to buy your time back. And if you don't get that when you hire every single time, then that was a bad hire, right? So you want to be hiring to not replace yourself, but really to buy back your time. Every position you should be looking at and thinking, okay, how much time is that buying back for me? What do I now get to do instead of that? That could be business related, or that could just be having more fun. Because at the end of the day, why are we doing this as entrepreneurs, right? We got into business, if you're like me, to have more fun, to have more freedom, to work less. And unfortunately, for most entrepreneurs, that's just not a reality. You end up working more and sometimes making less. That is not a good combination, and definitely not what I want for you. All right, so now that you know what not to do, let's talk about the right way to do this so that you get it right from day one. So when you're hiring someone, what you want to be doing is not only hiring to buy back your time, but you want to be hiring to a system. And system, quote unquote, it is a word that is used a lot. You see it on a lot of YouTube videos, trainings, courses, teachings, all this kind of stuff, right? What is it? Well, a system, it's actually pretty simple, right? Simple and straightforward. A system needs to consist of a couple of things. Number one is, what are you doing, right? What is the outcome that you want, right? What is the job description? What are the things that you want out of this position or out of this role? That's number one. So a standard operating procedure around the position. Number two is key performance indicators, or KPIs, or put simply, how is this going to be measured? I'm going to give you an example of all this in just a second, right? So what are we measuring and how is it going to be measured? Number three is, who has ownership for the result? And I say the result because, who has ownership of the process is fine, but really you want to know who's going to take responsibility for that result. And then number four is, what does the escalation or tree look like when things don't go right? So, who's responsible for what? And when all those things are put together in a system, you really have a lot of success. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm Danny, and this video is sponsored by me, my company, All Star VAs. If you want to work less, earn more, and have way more fun in your business and in your life, you gotta implement a virtual assistant and a system with every standard operating procedure, every key performance indicators, and most importantly, the implementation and the execution of those systems into your business. Our clients hire executive administrative assistants, social media managers, salespeople, and everything in between. To chat with us, just hit that link down in the description or scan this QR code, free business consultation. We'll give you any of that stuff you want and help you succeed faster. Now, let's get back to the video. So I'm going to give you an example based upon a position of social media manager. So social media manager is a position that we staff a lot at my virtual assistant company, which I'll talk about in just a second. But for a social media manager, your standard operating procedure and your job description would look something like a document that talks about what it is that you want to accomplish. So let's just say, hypothetically, you want to grow your social media following on Instagram. And we've done this very successfully on my Instagram account. I started with about 300 people. Now I'm at over 4,000. Maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, or maybe it does, but we're getting over 1 million views a month on my Instagram account. By the way, if you don't follow me there, I'll put the link down here. Follow me there, post all kinds of fun stuff all the time. And so, that would be the standard operating procedures. Hey, we want to grow our Instagram account. Then we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. And we're going to talk about, what are we measuring? So we're measuring not only follower growth, but we're measuring, number of people that comment on our posts, number of people that book calls from those posts, number of people that join our email list from there, right? So all of these kinds of things that are measurables. Who owns the job? Well, in this case, Amelia, who's my social media manager, owns that position. We meet on it weekly, we review our numbers, our stats, and we see how we're doing. What happens if we don't hit the results? Well, at these weekly meetings, we're going over the numbers, and if we're not getting there, then we're going to take a look and see what's going wrong, right? So maybe we need to adjust our post style. She is responsible, meaning I'm not the one that's going out and researching new ways of posting and things that are working and not working. She's doing that. And because she's doing that, I can rely on the fact that I don't really have to worry about Instagram. It's happening in the background. I'm not doom scrolling on there all the time. It's just working out. So when you create that kind of system for every position before you hire, or alternatively, you hire someone into a vision and you say, hey, this is what I want to achieve and what I want to accomplish with this position. I need you to create the system, right? So that's the key. And then we're going to meet on it and agree on the vision, on the system, on everything we're doing. When you do that, then you get great results. If you don't do that, you make bad hires and you just throw them into a position, you tell them to do their job, and then you wonder why they didn't. And so, that's the biggest problem with hiring. If you don't install these systems first, or at least if you don't have an idea of what it is you're going to do and how you're going to do it, that's what creates problems typically. Now, I will tell you that, one of the biggest, not to toot my own horn, but one of the biggest value adds of our company, All-Star VAs, is the implementation of the systems, right? So it's easy to hire someone. You can place an ad, or you can, look in the classifieds or wherever you're going to look online. If you're hiring local, if you're hiring overseas, there's lots of websites for that too. And you can do it yourself. The issue is that you're missing the systems, the implementation, and the oversight. So what you're doing is you're reinventing the wheel. So I don't know about you, but I like to shortcut my success. And if I can do that and buy back my time, I'm going to do it every time. And so that's what we do. And that's where our value lies, is shortcutting that process so that when you hire someone, you're installing the system, the SOP, the KPIs, all of the things that you need to make sure that this hire is extremely successful in your business. And if it isn't, or if he or she is not, then we're going to catch that early. We're going to replace that person, or we're going to implement a new system, and we're going to make it work for you. And that's ultimately the difference between working with a company like ours and really just doing it yourself and winging it. If you want to do that yourself, of course you can. And by the way, we have every standard operating procedure you need. If you want to let me know in the comments below what you're looking for, what you need, I'm happy to send that to you. Or we also have a link down below if you want to turbocharge your success and shortcut your way, like I said, and you want to ultimately, earn more money, work less, and have way more fun in your business and your life, and not worry about creating all this stuff on your own. You can book a call with our team and we'll walk you through that, how we do it, how we work, and all that good stuff, right? And you can do that. There's a link below. You can scan this QR code as well. So hopefully you've gotten some great value out of this video. One of the key things when you're implementing these systems is there are actually 5 systems in your business that you have to get right, each one of those. And if you don't, you're just going to end up working harder, more hours, longer, and not getting the result you want. And I made this video talking about all 5 of those right here.